The grand saga of the Bunker household, as captured in these chaotic chronicles, begins in a hospital ward where Archie is grappling with a profound identity crisis involving pharmaceutical semantics and medical mystery. He is deeply offended by the notion of being a narcotic, arguing with a straight face that he is far too square to be a drug, while simultaneously fearing that the doctors are prescribing pills that will carry him away like a horse with internal issues. Edith, in her signature brand of helpfulness that usually borders on psychological warfare, suggests they pass the time by painting the kitchen or moving upstairs, though she graciously concedes that upstairs can wait until tomorrow. The atmosphere is thick with Archie's existential dread as he contemplates a $500 medical bill, a sum so terrifying he considers hibernating for the next 20 years like a modern-day Rip Van Winkle, facing the wall until 1997 arrives. He laments that the songs on the radio give terrible advice, telling people to walk through storms and stay on the sunny side, which he finds utterly useless when one is lying in a hospital bed feeling pitiful and like a total mistake. As the drama shifts from the infirmary to the home front, the family's financial stability takes a nosedive faster than a lead balloon. Archie's bar, the supposed crown jewel of his empire, is under siege by bill collectors who have already repossessed the furniture and the piano, leaving the establishment so empty that the only way to play pinball is to fly to Sicily. The telephone has been cut off, leading Archie to declare that he is not a businessman, but a nothing who was born to be nothing. Enter Harry, the long-suffering partner, who is lured into a negotiation that would make a Wall Street shark blush. Despite Archie's dramatic claims that he will stay in bed until he dies, he manages to summon the strength to haggle over a partnership split. When Harry offers a 50-50 deal, Archie predictably demands 70-30, eventually settling on a 60-40 arrangement where the 60 does the talking and the 40 does the listening and also opens the roof at 10 in the morning. Just when Archie thinks he has regained some control, the universe throws a literal blanket of darkness over New York City in the form of a massive blackout. The bunker residence becomes a comedy of errors, illuminated by flickering candles and the glow of a refrigerator that is rapidly turning into a warm box of disappointment. Edith, ever the pragmatist, decides that the only logical response to a power failure is to consume a giant black cheesecake before it spoils, leading to a frantic, dark-room feast involving chocolate and milk that has unfortunately extinguished a candle. Mike and Gloria try to explain the socioeconomic reasons for the blackout, using big words that Archie dismisses as radical hoo-ha. Archie, meanwhile, reveals his own opportunistic streak, admitting he charged desperate travelers $20 a head to ride in his cab during the chaos, justifying his price gouging as a necessary survival tactic for his own social and ecological equipment. He tells Mike that if he wants to talk like a radical, he should move to the USSR or Jersey, as they will take anyone. The plot thickens and takes a turn for the surreal when Archie is approached by a group of concerned citizens known as the Crusaders. Under the impression that he is joining a prestigious civilization organization dedicated to law and order, Archie undergoes a vetting process that involves confirming he isn't a member of any un-American organizations and that he believes in white suprematization in every field except boxing, baseball, and basketball. The irony reaches a peak when it is revealed that these Crusaders are actually a local chapter of the KKK, and their first order of business is to burn a cross on Archie's own lawn to intimidate his stupid son for writing a liberal letter to the editor. Archie, realizing he has accidentally joined a group of sheet-wearing clowns, is suddenly faced with a family revolt. Gloria and Mike threaten to move to a motel to protect young Joey from an atmosphere of hate, while Edith is left in a state of shock. In a stroke of desperate, comedic genius, Archie decides to fight fire with fiction. He confronts the KKK members and concocts a wild story about a gallbladder operation he had the previous year. He claims that he received a massive blood transfusion, specifically black blood, and is now spiritually and biologically linked to a massive brotherhood of black blood brother. He warns the Crusaders that if they touch his house or burn any crosses, he will summon his new brothers to come down and tear up their honky-honk. This bluff apparently works, as the threat of cross-burning dissipates into a nostalgic trip down memory lane. The saga concludes with Gloria and Mike reminiscing about their first date, which involved a disastrous double date with a girl named Debbie who wanted chlorets and a boy who looked like Fred Astaire only if you squinted through a beard. The evening ended with Archie putting straws in his nose like a walrus and acting like a wolf to get Edith's attention at a local ice cream parlor while they ate a steamboat special with 5 different flavors. It is a fittingly absurd end to a series of events defined by blackouts, bad investments, and the undeniable, if often misguided, bond of the Bunker family. The legendary saga of the Bunker household continues, with Archie finding himself in a hospital bed, adamantly denying that he is a narcotic, while Edith suggests they paint the kitchen or perhaps move upstairs tomorrow. Archie feels quite pitiful and like a total mistake, especially after realizing he signed the papers to buy a bar that is now falling apart with no customers and a disconnected phone. He contemplates staying in bed for the next 20 years, much like Rip Van Winkle, to avoid facing the reality of his failing business and a $500 medical bill. Eventually, his old partner Harry arrives, and despite Archie's dramatic flair for misery, they strike a deal to be partners again on a 60-40 split, where Archie remains the boss, who does the talking while Harry handles the actual work. The chaos shifts from the hospital to a literal dark age when a massive blackout hits New York, leaving the Bunkers to navigate their home like blindfolded contestants in a very strange game show. Edith, ever the pragmatist when it comes to dessert, insists they eat a giant cheesecake before it spoils in the warming refrigerator, leading to a frantic midnight feast illuminated by a single candle that was nearly extinguished by a spilled carton of milk. While Mike tries to explain the socioeconomic reasons for the blackout using big words that Archie finds suspicious, Archie admits he spent the night charging desperate people $20 a head for cab rides, justifying his price gouging as a victory for the American dream. The plot takes a turn for the bizarre when Archie is recruited by a group called the Crusaders, which he mistakenly believes is a high-class civic organization dedicated to law and order. After a vetting process where he confirms he is a church-going Christian who believes in white supremacy in every field except professional sports, he realizes he has actually joined a local chapter of the KKK. His new brothers plan to burn a cross on his front lawn to intimidate his son-in-law Mike for writing a controversial letter to the editor. Horrified by the prospect of sheet-wearing clowns ruining his property and scaring away his grandson Joey, Archie concocts a desperate and hilarious lie. In a stroke of comedic genius, Archie tells the Crusaders that he received a massive black blood transfusion during a gallbladder operation the previous year, claiming he is now spiritually linked to a powerful brotherhood of black men. He warns the Klansmen that if they touch his house, he will call upon his blood brothers to come down and destroy their organization, a bluff so absurd it actually manages to stall their plans. The tension finally breaks as the family retreats into nostalgia, reminiscing about Gloria and Mike's first date 9 years ago, which involved a disastrous double date with a girl named Debbie and an ice cream parlor trip where Archie tried to get Edith's attention by putting straws in his nose and acting like a walrus. Through blackouts, bad investments, and accidental secret society memberships, the Bunkers remain a beautifully dysfunctional testament to the fact that even in the dark, there is always a reason to argue over a piece of cheesecake. While Archie attempts to recover his dignity by napping, Edith fusses over him with threats of coconut tea, a beverage Archie is convinced will cause immediate digestive distress. The conversation drifts to an old family friend named Debbie Ballantyne, a woman Archie claims to have never liked, despite the fact that she was the primary reason Mike and Gloria ever met. Debbie's reputation as a mother of an ever-expanding brood of children becomes a point of contention, leading to a confusing debate about whether she ever actually found a husband or if she simply specialized in collecting toddlers. As the women prepare to visit a sick relative named Aunt Iola, who seems to have been on the verge of passing away for the better part of a decade, Archie mocks the necessity of the trip, suggesting that Iola might as well wait one more day to expire so they can have a peaceful weekend. Edith, undeterred by Archie's cynicism, packs 12 jars of homemade marmalade for the visit, sparking a bizarre argument where Archie declares that if Iola dies in New Jersey, the marmalade should be buried with her to save them the trouble of bringing it back to New York. With the house finally empty of parental supervision, the scene shifts back 9 years to a teenage Gloria and Debbie plotting a double date with 2 college men. Gloria is a bundle of nerves, paralyzed by her father's strict Victorian-era morality, which dictates that a woman should avoid even thinking about the opposite sex until a marriage license is framed on the wall. Debbie, who is much more adventurous and currently obsessed with a mysterious boy from Chicago named Jim, convinces Gloria to agree to the date by promising a secret rescue signal if the boys turn out to be losers. The tension rises as the doorbell rings, revealing Mike then a bearded, long-haired student and his friend Mort. Gloria is initially horrified by Mike's appearance, whispering to Debbie that his hair looks like a collection of pearls and questioning if he's even human. To make matters worse, Gloria attempts to entertain them with a disastrously unfunny knock-knock joke that leaves the room in a state of awkward silence. However, the ice begins to melt when Mike mentions his disdain for modern dancing, a sentiment Gloria shares with surprising passion. They bond over a mutual love for old-fashioned ballroom styles, leading to an impromptu tango in the bunker living room where Gloria compares Mike to Fred Astaire, and he envisions her as Ginger Rogers. The romance nearly hits a roadblock in the kitchen when a late-night snack of Belgian cheese and frankfurters leads to a clumsy physical advance, prompting Gloria to set firm boundaries about what is appropriate for a first date. Mike, suffering from a sudden leg cramp but eager to impress, graciously accepts the rejection and heads home, only to return the very next day, claiming it is officially the second day, and therefore the rules of engagement must have changed. Back in the present, the family laughs over the memory of Archie's frantic attempts to interfere that night, specifically how he tried to intimidate Mike by acting like a wolf and stuffing straws up his nostrils to mimic a walrus at the local ice cream parlor.